Hey guys, so I know it's super late, but I finally got back from vacation, so I am going to film my July reviews for you guys. Yes, I am drinking coffee from one of those like beer cups you get at Cubs games apparently, and it's like as big as my head. And I swear to God, there's no alcohol in this. I just haven't slept in like 24 hours. So I feel like July is just the longest month ever. I feel like I read so much stuff and I don't even remember half of it. So please bear with me. First thing that I read in July was Saving Lucas Biggs by Marissa de Los Santos and her husband David Teague. Even if this book wasn't about time travel and the rich versus the poor and rebellion in history, I would still love this book because Marissa is such a beautiful writer. She is a poet, so all of her lines are just so lyrical and wonderful. Margaret's father has been accused of murder, and everyone in the town knows that this can't possibly be true. He's the least likely person to hurt anyone ever. She and her best friend are trying to figure out a way to prove her father's innocence, and a few months prior to this arrest, her dad told her that they have a time travel gene. He made her take a pact that she would never ever use it. But she's gonna! She ends up going back in time to when the judge of her father's trial was young and trying to stop him from turning out into such a grumpy old man, basically. This is basically just a really cute, adventurous, middle grade novel about time travel. I love time travel so much. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars and would recommend it. And then I read Sidekick by Oralee Wallace, and I just put up a video about this, reviewing all aspects of it. I kind of tear it apart a little bit. As you may guess from the title, it is about superheroes. Well, more like one badass superhero lady, and then this other chick who's like, hey, I want to be your sidekick. I am spoiled rotten, but I really want to do good. And that's basically what the entire novel is about. And you can click on the picture and go to my review if you want to know more about that. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. I would probably only recommend this book if you're really into superheroes and chick lit, chick flick kind of stuff, because it's that combined. And I know that sounds really awesome, and it's a really awesome concept, but the book kind of, it's iffy. And then I read One More Thing, Stories and Other Stories by B.J. Novak. This is a short story collection by B.J. Novak, who is one of the writers from The Office. He's also played Kelly's boyfriend, but like the hipster guy. I ended up giving this a pretty high rating. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars because there were 2 or 3 stories that were so good, that were just so clever and wonderful. A lot of these stories were really clever, and I was like, oh, way to go for thinking that up. This is really good. Then you get the whole, you know, privileged white boy writing short stories thing. I feel like a lot of short story collections I read are so pretentious. You're trying so hard. If you like B.J. Novak and you like stories that are sometimes really beautiful and philosophical, and then you like really crude, like plot twists where it's just like, fuck that, then you'll like this. This is now getting into the Bout of Books stuff, so you can go watch that video if you want to hear me talk about these books but a little differently. Then I read Rocket Girl Volume 1 Times Squared by Amy Reeder and Brandon Montclair. This is a graphic novel about a teenage girl from the future where they have this kind of kid police force. They have these teenagers who are like really respected police officers. And so she decides that she wants to go back in time to stop this company basically from taking over, and like this technology advances and they're not exactly good. And she tries to stop this machine and stop this group of scientists from progressing any farther. But she becomes like really good friends with some of the scientists, and it's kind of cute. I did really like it. I liked the concept. I liked that it's a teenage girl doing all these badass things. She's not putting herself down. She's just really determined to save the world. I really like the side characters, probably because they were all scientists, and I love me some scientists. I'm shipping the pink-haired chick and her roommate so hard. I thought they were together, but then they like came out of different rooms, and I'm like, no! I really did not care about like the flashes to her partners and like what they're doing in the future now that she's gone. I don't care. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. And yeah, I would recommend this. I think it's a good start to this like female-powered graphic novel series. As you may know, I read Saga this month and it was pretty freaking great. I gave it 4.7 stars because it was almost perfect. There were a few little problematic things that I'm just like, why? This is so progressive. Look at that shit. That's so progressive and great. But then they have like these little things that just take it back and I'm like, why? It's by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples, and it's real good. It's about the future. It's a little Romeo and Juliet thing with 2 species that shouldn't be together, but then they have a baby and they're on the run, and it's real good. Then I read Harry a History by Melissa Nelly, who I got to meet at LeakyCon. It was really great. Like, I got pretty emotional reading this, because I'm just like, oh god, my childhood, all of these things that are so important to me. I would recommend this for everyone who likes Harry Potter. Yes, it is more like a memoir of Melissa's life, but she was so involved with the Harry Potter community. She is the Leaky Cauldron. So just read it. Even though it's a memoir, it's great. If you like Harry Potter, read it. 4 out of 5 stars. And then I read The Art of Wishing by Lindsay Rebar. This is the first of the wishing duology that I read this month. This is about genies and their magic and musical theater and a little bit of queer theory thrown in there. I didn't love this first book. I liked it. It was pretty good. I thought it was a little bit like Twilight, but instead of vampires, there's genies. Because I didn't like the end of this book. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but I didn't like it. But I did go on to the second one, which I will get to in a second. Then I read Kick-Ass by Mark Millar, which is one of my favorite movies ever. But then I read the comic and I realized that the comic is 100 times better. It even matches up with my feminist ideals and everything. This graphic novel was really entertaining, a little uncomfortable, but I think that is the point. I didn't really like the art, even though he's supposed to be like the best comic book artist ever. I'm like, blood doesn't work like that. It doesn't look like that. The ending to this book is absolutely amazing. I love it so much. As a Kick-Ass fan, I was just like, yes. I'm definitely gonna be reading the second volume and then whatever is out of the third volume right now. And then I read a novella called Stupid Perfect World by Scott Westerfield. This is a novella set in the future where basically the world is perfect. There's no more illness, you don't have to sleep. They've corrected anything that was bothersome in our lives right now. But in high school they have to take a class where they have to experience how their ancestors lived, as in us. And so the main character decides that he's going to try sleeping, and so he starts to dream. And then his best friend decides that she's going to try to live with her normal teenage hormones, and you can imagine where this is going. It was good. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It was the best thing I've ever read by him, because I can never make it through anything else he's ever written. Then I read the sequel to The Art of Wishing, which is The Fourth Wish by Lindsay Rebar, and this was so good. This is so much better than the first book, even though I did like the first book. The cover is freaking amazing when you like figure out what's going on there. You get into gender and sexuality stuff while still being a fun genie book, and I just love the world that she's crafted and how the genies work. I'm gonna have a video review of both of these books up very, very soon, and I will talk way more in detail. Like, it's gonna be a long video. I gave this 4.5 out of 5 stars, but then I rounded it up to 5 stars on Goodreads because it was that good. And then I read a very short piece by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, and I believe it's just her TED Talk in written word form, and it's called We Should All Be Feminists. And this is a really good starter feminist piece to read, I think. It has the gender and race issues and sexuality issues. I felt like it was a little transphobic at times. It's just really great to read about her experiences with racism and sexism and the connotation around the word feminist and how she had to grow to learn exactly what that meant. And I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Then I read the first volume of Suicide Squad by Adam Glass, and this was basically shit. I didn't like it. Like, I even forgot that I read it, because it was not good. Like, even if there wasn't all this problematic shit going on about, like, Harley's gender and her mental stability and, like, the racism and things like that, I still wouldn't like it, because it's so boring. This basically put me off of DC. Anything that's not Batwoman or Batgirl, I'm done with. Unless anyone has some recommendations for DC Comics that I would like, that aren't shitty in terms of males writing shitty female characters, and aren't boring and hard to follow, because I'm not that smart when it comes to, like, figuring out what's a flashback. So I hope you guys could kind of follow along my weird, caffeinated, sleep-deprived reviews for this month. I do have written Goodreads reviews for most of these books that I will leave a link to my Goodreads down below, and you can check that out. Hopefully I'm more coherent. If you want a full review for any of these books, because I can't talk the reviews right now, please let me know in the comments and I will try to do that. Thank you, Netgalley, for sending me some of these books, and thank you, Goodreads First Reads, for sending me some of these books. All the information about who sent what and where I got these books are down below. Look forward to the Art of Wishing Duology reviews and my TBR and the LeakyCon vlogs and my July book haul. There's tons of great books coming up in the book haul. I'm so excited. And I will see you guys later. Bye! Which I never pictured him as old until I saw him at LeakyCon. I'm like, you're older than anyone here. Which that's not a bad thing. I just didn't know.